Finally, almost at the end here. We're on the home stretch, and we are at Jason X. Now, when I first heard of Jason X, I never seen a trailer or knew anything about the movie. You just rented it from the store one day because it sounded interesting. Didn't even look at the cover, just popped it in and watched it. And surprisingly, even though a lot of critics and fans don't like it, it does well because it does not take itself completely seriously. It's been proof in the past that when Hollywood tries to make a horror movie in space, except for Ridley Scott's Alien franchise, that it doesn't do well. Leprechaun in space, Critters 4 in space, and so on. So they knew when they were coming into this that the idea was already ridiculous. You know, the beginning of the story, it's 2010. Jason has been captured once again, and they're doing experiments on him, trying to figure out how he ticks. When that doesn't work because they can't figure a way to kill him, they decide to freeze him in cryostasis until they can figure out what to do with him. And once again, the fucking government heads want the money and everything, decide that they need to keep him to learn from him more, to study some more. Well, that goes wire. Jason escapes, starts killing everybody, and the girl Rollins, who was against all this, lures Jason into the cryo area and freezes him into the cryostasis before getting stabbed by Jason and the cryo being released in the room and her getting frozen as well. After that, 455 years come later, expedition team finds Jason and her, and they say that they can revive her. You know, so they take her aboard along with Jason, and they do revive her. She's like out, confused and everything, and Jason apparently is dead. Now, right off the bat, you know, of course, there's no Crystal Lake or anything, and, you know, Jason, but it's just the fact that there are so many jokes, and there's still great deaths. The very first death we see, besides the people dying at the beginning when Jason comes back in the future, is he takes a girl's freaking head, shoves it in freaking cryo liquid, freezes her face, and then smashes her face. Beautiful. He takes on, and this is true, you know, Jason is, you know, very tough to kill. He takes on trained futuristic army men and still comes out on top. You know, they still have the sex jokes in there and everything, you know, especially these people were about to have sex and this girl's making a moaning noise, and then Jason sits right up like his Jason sense of hit, and he's like, someone's having sex somewhere, I need to kill them. You know, it's just hilarious, you know, with that. You know, after he dispatches all the army guys, they think he's locked in one area, so he kills the guy driving the freaking spaceship, which makes him crash into the station that they were going to get at, and they keep going adrift. The one guy who's a professor, of course, you know, wants to keep Jason because of the money. There's so much money he can get from it, and it always boils down to money. Always money. It's ridiculous. But, you know, that's how the government works and everything. You know, so now they're stuck, you know, they got a robot, no army men, and one girl who's 455 years who knows about Jason, but there's not much she can do at this time frame, so he just keeps killing them off and killing them off, not being able to stop him. Near the climax in the movie, after the female robot gets, you know, an upload and becomes a badass, we think he's dead for good. He's put on an operating table, and instead of taking him off the broken operating table, they leave him, which has a short circuit, turns on, and rebuilds him into an uber Jason. Bullets don't phase him, nothing's phasing him. He's so goddamn badass. So they decide to blow up the ship halfway to try to survive in the one area until the one ship can dock and save them. Which works until, of course, Jason rips a hole through the one side of the ship and And one of the best parts in the movies is when they decide to try to, distract him. They recreate Crystal Lake, which starts working, but then he starts heading back towards their objective. So they give him two camp counselors who, are talking about drinking and smoking pot and having premarital sex. Then the next scene, he takes them both in the fucking sleeping bags, and he's beating their shit out of one with the other, and hits the other one over the freaking tree and everything. It does it all like 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And, that's freaking hilarious. For all the things that the movie couldn't do to make it work, it decided to have fun with the movie, knowing that putting Jason in space was a really stupid idea, but they decided to make it work by having fun with it, by putting in humor, putting in some of the great, Friday the 13th, originality into it and everything. And, I still think it did real well with this being Kane Hodder's last time playing Jason Voorhees. He played it from 6 to 10. 4 movies, and besides the horrible debacle that was 8, he does a good job as Jason. I wish he would have stayed on longer to play Jason, because he does a really good job, especially as Uber Jason. And of course, at the very climax, Jason's about to get into the little escape pod they made it in, and the one black guy who apparently did not die, is all badass, shuts the door and decides to walk towards him and to start punching the shit out of him. And even deflects Jason from, crashing into the pod to save the other 2 people. At the very end, on Earth 2, they crash into the lake, which I'm guessing is another crystal lake. And 2 people who were camping out there were all like, let's make a wish. And then it landed in the lake. Let's go check it out. And all you see is Jason's mask floating to the bottom of the lake. And the and the movie ends. Now, the movie is really good. I honestly think, for the idea they had, they executed it very well. And honestly, I would have liked to see if they could have continued this afterwards. It would have been nice to see what people could do in the future to try to take down Uber Jason, instead of it being normal Jason, because, normal weapons and everything... Normal weapons and everything could barely phase Jason when he was just Jason. Now in the future, he's Uber Jason. Future weapons probably won't be able to phase him that much, but maybe they can take him down and everything. Besides, he'll be in the future. There's so many things that could be done with that, but just to remember to have fun with it. But that doesn't work because it's freaking 8 years later, they decide to do a remake, which didn't pan too well. So New Line Cinema sold the rights back to Paramount Pictures, and now they're going to do possibly a remake or a sequel movie, maybe a sequel to Jason X. That would be awesome. And they're also planning a TV show starring Jason. But I honestly think that, you guys should go back and rewatch Jason X, and don't take it seriously. There are some serious tones to it, but it knows what they're trying to go for, and they just try to make it into a joke. Not a mockery, but a joke. They have jokes in there, and they have a lot of fun with the movie, knowing that it's a really, really ridiculously hard premise to pull off. But anyways, my final verdict on Jason X is actually a 9.8 out of 10. It is a really, really good movie. It is worth, being part of the Friday the 13th franchise. It does earn that right. It has the killing, it has the Jason character down and everything. Only difference is it's in space, and they have nanobots that can heal people. And they got futuristic weapons, and it's on a spaceship. That's honestly the only difference. But honestly, I tell you, like I told you, do not watch 8. 9 was better. 10 is just as good. It was really, really good movie, really well done. Jim Isaac did a great job, and Sheen S. Cunningham, who created Jason, was a producer for this movie as well. So if he didn't like what they were doing, he would have said something. And he didn't. The movie was made, critics didn't do too well with it, some fans like it, some fans don't, but apparently not enough because a remake had to be made. New Line Cinema only did 4 movies involving Jason. And, I guess they couldn't do a good enough job like Paramount can, so let's see what Paramount, can do. Because, I'd really like to see, please don't make another remake, just make a sequel to Jason X, or make a sequel that takes place after 9 but before Jason X, or take the one movie, what is it, it's a comic. It's Jason X versus Jason, and do that for a movie. That would be awesome. Thanks for watching, and have a more phenomenal day.